I'm coming at you live on tape from Sydney, Ohio. And today we're talking the world's fattest twins. Now, why are we talking about fat people on a wrestling show? Besides the fact I'm fat, I like to talk about fat people. They were also wrestlers, they were a tag team. And I watched a match of theirs, and the one guy had to push the other guy in the ring, and then another guy had to help the other fat person get in the ring. So it was quite interesting. And then instead of standing on the apron, the other guy kind of stood in the corner. It was interesting. It's on Guinness's website if you want to watch it. They were born Billy and Benny McCreary, premature, only 5 pounds. So they weren't born excessively large. They started gaining weight when they had rubella, which is German measles, as a kid, and just kept gaining weight. Now, their family moved them to a farm then to get exercise, which they put them on to get them lots of exercise, and they put them on 1,000 calorie a day diet. But they kept gaining weight. And by 10 years old, they were 200 pounds. And by 16, when they dropped out of high school, they were 500 pounds. Now, their parents didn't want them making a spectacle of themselves, but they decided to anyways, and they rode their mini bikes in the parade of their hometown, which got Honda interested in them. So Honda sent them all around the state to do promotions for Honda mini bikes and Honda motorcycles. And that's when someone from Life magazine took a picture of them, and it went into Life magazine, which then someone from Guinness got involved and put them in the Guinness Book of World Records as the world's fattest twins, at which point they weighed over 700 pounds apiece. Now, they were traveling from New York to LA and stopped over in El Paso, Texas, where they met Gory Guerrero, who is the father of Eddie Guerrero, which most of my wrestling fans know, but some of you may not, who also, Gory Guerrero, also invented a buttload of wrestling moves. And he decided to train them as wrestlers. Now, they didn't really take bumps. People just ran into them, they threw them back. They had some signature moves, one of which was the one guy would give them a big splash, would jump on them belly first and give them a big splash down on the ring, down on the to pin them. Another one was called the steamroller, where he would lay on them and roll back and forth. Another one was where they would squash people in between them. I don't remember the names of this move. I've just been researching this today, and I think I read the thing 3 times. They did tours in Japan about 3 times a year for several years, and they were also part of the National Wrestling Alliance. Now, they stopped for a time when Billy developed pneumonia and got a blood clot, but then they went back to wrestling and also decided to do stunts on their mini bikes. Now, this got them even more attention, but came to a tragic end in 1979, where Billy suffered injuries in the stunt show with their mini bikes in Niagara Falls and died. Benny went back to wrestling, teaming with Andre Giant, but he just didn't find any success. So he went back to his hometown and opened a pawn shop, and then moved to his wife's hometown and joined the Christian golf ministry because he was an evangelical Christian, where he was part of until the cartilage in his knee wore out when he was bedridden up until he died at the age of 54 in 2001. They are buried in their hometown together, side by side, with a 13-foot headstone marking them as the world's fattest twins, record holder, with Honda motorcycles on it. Now, as you can imagine, the world was not easy. Traveling was not easy overseas to Japan or even in America on a plane for the world's fattest twins, even before planes made their seats ultra skinny. They had to buy 2 seats, which I imagine nowadays they'd have to buy like 5 seats, and they couldn't fit in the bathroom. So, but they still loved what they did. And I read at one point that they held the tag titles, but I could not get a definite answer on that. So that is, I've read that, but I can't get a definite answer on that. They were, however, very popular, and Family Guys poked fun of them on multiple occasions with their world's fattest twins on their show. Now, I want to see your CAWs, your creator wrestlers, of the world's fattest twins. Just look up the McCrary brothers or the McGuire brothers, because they wrestled under the name the McGuire brothers too. And look up pictures of these guys, and then make them in your WWE wrestling games. And I want to see creator wrestlers of these guys. I know their moves are in the games. I know you can do it. I don't have WWE wrestling games. I have Fire Pro World and AEW Fight Forever, because I don't really like the WWE wrestling games. And I can create them in Fire Pro World, but the graphics are kind of shoddy. The graphics aren't the best in that game. And you can't really AEW Fight Forever, the creation suite isn't that great. But I know in WWE you could easily create these 2 fat fucking people. So I want to see your creator wrestlers of them. They'd be all power and barely able to fucking move at all. And that's it for this week. Join me later in the week when we will look at Mouse of Horrors on Tubi.